Hi, guys. Welcome back to Bobby Pin Diaries, the podcast where we tell the truth about weddings before the veil ever goes on. I'm your host, Manya, bridal hairstylist, emotional support human, and the woman who has learned more about people in a styling chair than most people learn in therapy. Today's episode is one that needs to be said out loud, slowly, clearly, and honestly. Because if I hear one more person say, "Oh, it's just a trial," I might actually scream. So, today we're diving in talking about bridal hair trials, what they really are, why they matter, and how they can either save your wedding day or could set you up to fall apart on your wedding day. So, first, let's talk about what people think a trial is. Most people think a trial is about just a little preview, a vibe check, a Pinterest experiment. They think it's where the stylist shows up, recreates the inspo photo perfectly, everyone claps their hands, and that's it. But let me tell you something from someone who's done this for years, girl, no. A trial is not about perfection. A trial is about truth. It's where all of your inspiration that you've saved over the months meets reality. It's where your hair texture, the density, growth patterns, humidity, extensions, and expectations all sit down together at the same table, and somebody usually gets humble. And you know what? That's not a bad thing. That's the whole point of a trial. Let me tell you a story that happened to me months ago. It was a trial that I did with a bride. She taught me everything that I needed to know when it comes to trials. So, I had this bride come in with the most stunning inspiration photos that you can think of for half up, half downs. You know, the ones that are soft, loose waves, effortless volume, the I woke up like this, but actually didn't look. She had several inspiration photos for that look. Her hair was fine. It was beautiful, but it was fine in texture. And the photo, of course, you guessed it, the girl had 3 times the density and probably a clip-in halo working for her. So I did what I always do. I listened, I asked questions, and I started to style. But halfway through, I could feel, that quiet disappointment sitting in between us. She looked in the mirror and she said very softly, "But it doesn't look like the picture." And here's the moment where experience matters. Instead of getting defensive, instead of forcing it to look like the photo that she bought in, or instead of saying, "Well, your hair isn't like hers," I said, "You're right. And I'm really glad we're seeing this now instead of on your wedding day." So I explained what her hair could do, what would last for her hair texture if she wasn't going to get extensions, what would photograph beautifully for her, and what would survive hugs, tears, and the weather. So, what we did was we adjusted, we refined, we found a version of the style that she loved that would fit her, not the internet. So by the end of it, she looked in the mirror after I was all done. I gave her the mirror and she looked and she said, "This feels like me." And that is a successful trial. So let's get into why trials go wrong. Let's be honest, trials don't go wrong because of the hair alone. They go wrong because of communication. Here's what causes problems every single time. Number one, bringing 10 to 15 different inspiration photos with different textures. Number two, wanting big hair but no extensions. Number three, wanting longevity but also super soft and touchable hair. Number four, wanting something different every 5 minutes so you can't make up your mind. Number five, not being honest about insecurities. And what I mean by that is brides that choose styles but don't have their insecurities in mind. So if you want to cover up maybe a soft spot or a bald spot at your temple area, you can't have a snatchback look, okay? If you want to cover your ears and you want a half up, half down, and it's kind of like slicked up, that's not helpful for your insecurities. And last but not least, treating the trial like a test instead of a conversation. A trial it's not where you sit silently and you hope your stylist reads your mind. No, no, no. You need to speak up. You need to ask questions. You need to say how you feel, not just what you see. So here are some red flags for brides and stylists. So for stylists, if a bride wants 5 completely different styles in one session, she has zero feedback but visible disappointment. There's a perfection stamp but with no flexibility. She has Pinterest results without Pinterest hair. Or a bride says, I don't know what I want. I know when I see it. Those are all red flags. It's not a bad bride. That's just a bride who needs education, number one, guidance, and honesty from you. For brides, if your stylist, number one, rushes the trial, two, dismisses your concerns, three, doesn't explain why something won't work for you, four, doesn't ask about your dress, the weather, timeline, five, makes you feel small for asking questions, those are all red flags that you need to look out for. That's not alignment, and alignment really matters for your wedding day to go smoothly. So, a trial, what it's actually used for, this is what we're going to talk about now. A bridal trial is where we, number one, test, hold, and longevity of a hairstyle. Number two, see how your hair behaves. When you do a trial, I'll ask you for notes the next day because I'll reach out to you and see how did your hair behave? How did it hold up? Things like that. And I'm asking for you to give those back to me for your hair trial so that we can better it for your wedding day. It's also to decide on extensions or not, adjust for weather and the venue. We're building trust, establishing communication between each other, setting expectations, and calming nerves. So a lot of brides come into bridal trials super nervous, and that's to be expected, and we understand. So communication is really big. So trials, it's where a bride learns something really important, and that is you don't need to look like someone else to look like a bride. You just need to look like yourself, elevated, confident, and comfortable in your skin and what you choose. So, a message to all my newer stylists listening: a trial is not about proving yourself, it's about partnering with your client. Explain your choices, slow down. Read the room, watch their body language, ask, how does this feel? Not just, do you like it? And remember, if you guide with confidence and care, clients trust you. Confidence isn't loud, it's steady. So, I have some questions for the brides. What surprised you the most during your trial? And stylists, what's one trial that completely changed how you approach wedding hair now? Send me your stories. I might read them in future episodes, so I can't wait to read those. Now, to end this out, I just want to say trials are not just practice. They're preparation, they're protection, they're peace. If you skip them, rush them, or ignore the lessons they're trying to teach you, the wedding day will definitely remind you. So, thank you for spending this time with me on Bobby Pin Diaries. If this episode helped you, Share it with a bride, a stylist, or someone that's planning their big day. I'll see you in 2 weeks on Friday with another chapter from Behind the Chair. Bye, guys.